Kirk Lacob is wrong. What's wrong with Golden State? Because Joe Lacob and Dunleavy are throwing Steve Kerr under the bus. And why would owner Joe Lacob side with one of the most trashed GMs in the history of the game over a four-time champion as head coach, nine-time champion overall, a head coach who's taken this franchise to six NBA championships, for a GM who at one point all Steve Kerr had available this season was 8 players. 7 of them were undrafted. That means they were G League or Omar Yurtseven, who was playing in Turkey. And the 8th player wasn't even an all-star ever in his career over Steve Kerr. It's because Kirk Lacob, his son, is assistant general manager who took over that position in 2023. So obviously you're not going to throw your son under the bus, but let's look at this front office. Let's look what's happened, okay? And you draft James White, and this goes back to the Bob Myers era. So you draft James Wiseman, who played 4 games in college. 4 games over LaMelo Ball, over Tyrese Halliburton, over Tyrese Maxey. Minnesota is willing to swap picks with you if you didn't even have to give up a pick. You just swapped again next year. But you didn't get him. And this is where I will say Steve Kerr said even if we had the number 1 pick, we wouldn't draft you to Anthony Edwards. You got to put some blame on him there. But Bob Myers, again, he was trash without Jerry West. The great Jerry West, who brought Iguodala to town, who made them keep Klay Thompson, okay? Who also brought Kevin Durant to town. But you have the 7th and the 14th pick in the draft. Steve Kerr, to his credit, says, give me Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner, by the way, just led the Orlando Magic to a victory, who is an all-star, against the number 1 seeded Pistons. They go Jonathan Kuminga. And Kuminga is a decent player, but again, he's no Franz Wagner. Well, you have the 14th pick in the draft. You go Moses Moody. At 15th is Şengün. But as bad as he was, look at Dunleavy. Dunleavy's been 100 times worse. First move was to trade Ryan Rollins, who's averaging 18 points a game. Everyone wants to talk about Jordan Poole. Ryan Rollins was involved in that trade. So Rollins, Poole, Baldwin, and a first-round pick for Chris Paul, who was trash by that time he got to Golden State. They had to release him in the summer. He was that bad. Look at this season. This team is in dire need of a center. And who do you go trade Kuminga for? Kristaps Porzingis. That guy couldn't stay healthy if his life depended on it. That guy makes Anthony Davis look like Mr. Health. He had 2 good games on Golden State, one being the Clippers game. And by good, it was a 20-point game. What does he do against the Suns? He demands Steve Kerr to take him out the game because he had a banged-up ankle. Steph Curry, meanwhile, was out there on one leg limping. Just look at Rob Pelinka running circles, right? Rob Pelinka says, hey, Luke Kennard's available for absolutely nothing. Get him. Cam Thomas, Luke Kennard were available. And what does Mike Dunleavy do for a roster that needs players before the break? Give me Nate Williams from the G League. Give me Omar Yurtseven from Turkey. He wasn't even in the G League. Give me Malvo Fight Leons. Absolutely trashy. The problem with the Golden State Warriors front office is nepotism, because Joe Lacob's not going to throw his own son, the assistant general manager, under the bus. He's going to throw Steve Kerr under the bus. You see, winning organizations don't meddle in, right? Winning owners don't meddle in. They hire people for the front office, like people for... Look at the Celtics. They gave Brad Stevens, they said, look, we don't think you fit in as coach, but we think you're a very good basketball mind. We're going to put you as president of operations. They don't go and put their own son in, so who do you think he's going to blame?